Gavin had figured out my feminine side a while before we actually discussed it. It was pretty obvious, to be honest. I'd occasionally fail to remove eyeliner entirely. My nails are shaped and a bit too long for a guy. I cut the back of my leg at work. Gavin cleaned it up and treated it. He asked me if I shaved my legs. Yes, I don't like having any body hair, I replied. I changed the subject and he pressed no further, but he smiled, subtly and knowingly. It was a couple of weeks after that when everything changed. Gavin is my boss. He owns the small chain of shoe shops in the northwest of England. Sanders Shoes has 8 branches, 2 are in Liverpool. I work in the biggest one and that's where Gavin is based. He does travel to the other branches, but is predominantly based in his enormous office above the Bold Street branch. As this is the flagship store, he spends a lot of time on the shop floor with us. There's 16 members of staff, 15 are women and there's me, Liam, not a woman. I do my best to look like one in my personal time but definitely not a woman. I started working here after college when I was 16, the girls took me under their wings, they teased me little but it didn't take long for us to bond. I've always been slight and I'm not exactly masculine at all. I've been mistaken for a girl plenty of times. Gavin was great from day one. I remember him being amused that a young lad had been hired, not annoyed at all. I think he knew I'd fit in. He also noticed my nervous demeanor. I'm quite timid. I keep my head down. He definitely understands that. He's always very calm with everyone on the shop floor, but it had been noticed, not just by myself, that he has a soft spot for me in particular. The day everything changed, I guess the gods or the universe put things in place so he could discover the feminine side of my life. It was a Saturday, late afternoon. The weather in Liverpool was horrendous, the wind and rain was awful, scaffolding had collapsed, trees were down and the streets, Bold Street too, were practically deserted. Gavin, as he had done before, offered to drive some of home. I insist, ladies, I need you all safe, I don't know how to work the tills. He said with a cheeky smile. He included me with the ladies reference. He used to say, good morning ladies, and Liam. Every day. Eventually he just dropped the Liam bit, and gave me a smile and a wink instead. I would try, and fail, to not blush. The drive home was fairly uneventful, slower than it could have been because the roads were so wet it was dangerous. As it worked out, I was last to be dropped off. The small talk was weather related. I was looking forward to showering and getting into clean and dry clothes, but I also mentioned an annoying noise my pipes make after I've showered. It's like a groaning and whistling noise at the same time. It actually scares me a bit. I need to tell the landlord. Gavin laughed. He said, it's easily fixed, 2 seconds under the sink and you'll sort it yourself. Firstly you need to check the pressure in your boiler, if that. He stopped, noticing my complete terror at the thought of doing something remotely manly. I tell you what Liam, I'll take a look, it's a 2-minute job. I can see you aren't keen, you aren't exactly the tinkering with the boiler type. Now we both laughed. Thanks Gavin, I'm not sure I could even open the boiler. I'll make you a coffee for your trouble. He took a call from a wholesaler on the loudspeaker about canceling deliveries. As we got closer to home it dawned on me, my apartment is not exactly a typical Giza place. There is a rack in my bedroom, with 20 pairs of stilettos on it. Opposite that is vanity table with makeup all over it, 3 wigs and the whole place smells of perfume. Guess where the boiler is? My absolutely, can only belong to a crossdresser's bedroom. I thought about making up an excuse, but after a bit of self-encouragement, I decided to just see what happens. He didn't flinch when I mentioned my aversion to hair on my body. In fact, he smiled. I was going to let him into my little secret. I can't remember what we talked about as we rode the elevator to my apartment. I was really nervous, and there was no way out now. We entered my apartment and I hurried to the bathroom to get some towels. We were both soaked. I was completely drenched through. Gavin's coat protected him, which is handy. It's not like I have anything that he could wear. He's 6'2", built like a tank. I mean he has a gym at home, and you can tell. I'm 5'6" and a size 10. I have a belt he could wear as a choker. We dried off and despite my attempts to stall, we headed to my bedroom. The boiler is in that closet there, I said, acting as casual as I could muster. He was taking it all in, the heels, the dresses hanging on the outside of the closet, the mirrors, the wigs, the whole room tells him enough. I should explain, the clothes, the wigs, everything it's, you know, a hobby, I have been. Gavin lifted his hand and smiled. Calm down Liam, it's okay, I already knew, I'd seen the clues, and after your comment about keeping your body smooth I kind of figured you had a feminine aspect to your life. I felt such a surge of relief, I was worried he'd laugh or even worse, think I was a pervert. He seemed genuinely curious about it. Oh, thank God, I was freaking out a bit when you offered to help. You do what you have to do in here and I'll be in the kitchen making coffee. I replied, grinning from ear to ear. I left him to it. I handed him his coffee as soon as he was finished under the sink. Any joy? I asked. Yes, Liam, it took 2 seconds, I'll show you in case it happens again. He explained the pressure issue and how to resolve it. I'm embarrassed I didn't know how to do that, but never mind, I know now thanks to my knight in shining armor. I thanked him and said I owed him one. It's my pleasure, I'm glad I came round, you are an interesting person Liam, is that you in the picture in the hall? He's referring to the only pic of me in femme mode on display in my apartment, it's me outside Buckingham Palace, I went to London for a long weekend and stayed dressed the whole time. Yes, that was a year ago, I said. You look amazing, I can tell that it's you, I mean, you are in there, but that is a woman in the picture. I was blushing myself into oblivion at his compliments. Does it take long for you to get ready? He asked, I could tell he was going somewhere with this, he was smiling again. Depends on the occasion. I was being hesitant, non-specific. Well, how about, your boss has just driven you home and tinkered with your plumbing, that's 2 favors, now your boss is asking you for 1 favor in return, dress up and show him. That kind of occasion. He was stood a foot away from me, hands in his pocket, smiling and looking right at me. There's beer in the fridge, I'll be less than an hour, make yourself comfortable. I said as I grabbed my phone and headed into my bedroom. Take your time, I'm in no hurry to get back outside. He winked at me and I nearly squealed with delight. 3/4 of an hour later, I stood, now literally shaking with a mixture of fear and excitement. I admired myself in the full-length mirror. I was going to go casual, but I decided on an outfit I'd recently acquired, a black, faux leather A-line skirt. It falls just below the knee and it flares out beautifully at the hem, a tight white blouse, white stilettos with a 4-inch heel. For stockings, I chose American tan hold-ups, black underwear. I wanted my bra to be visible, only a teeny bit though. I can style my own hair into a feminine style, but it takes way too long. My black wig, it falls at my shoulders in an angled bob cut, much shorter at the back. Makeup was going to be subtle, but got carried away with the eyeliner, so not quite subtle, more appropriate for a night out, but it looked good so, go big or go home. A spritz of perfume and I was ready to go see Gavin. I took one last look in the mirror and, he was standing behind me, in the doorway, eyes locked into mine through the reflection in the mirror. I thought you would look good, I had no idea how good you would look, you look stunning Liam, you are very good at this. That was the best reaction, he also got ahead of my nerves, I was definitely about to start stalling, he came to me and I was so relieved. You are very kind Gavin, I hope you understand how much that means? I was blushing through the makeup. It's Lindsay rather than Liam when I'm dressed like this, my mum chose that name for me when I would dress up as a kid, I guess I never grew out of it. Gavin looked a bit embarrassed by referring to me as Liam. Don't worry about that at all, I'm not going to be offended by anything, I'm not a woman in a man's body, I'm not transgender, I'm a gay guy with a serious, feminine side. It's very much a part-time thing, don't worry about my pronouns Gavin. I smiled and winked at him, now, he was blushing. We sat and chatted for a while about my life, his life, the more I listened to him, the more I wanted him to stay, he is so funny, he's far more playful outside of work. Very hands-on too, if you know what I mean? Nothing sexual, just, a bit hands-on, I didn't mind though, I was really enjoying his company, it was now 2 hours after the big reveal. Do you want another beer? I asked hopefully. No thanks Lindsay, I'll take a coffee before I hit the road though, I'm golfing at 8 in the morning, plus, I have the car. I was a bit disappointed, I wanted him to stay, I was also a little bit relieved, I was scared where this may go. I was at the kitchen counter, preparing the coffee when I felt a hand on my hip, then the other hand. Gavin leaned down, even in my heels, he towers over me, and now holding me gently from behind, he kissed my neck, then, as he kissed my cheek, he began to turn me around to face him. Our lips met gently at first, each kiss, a little deeper, more passion, he held me tight, I felt tiny in his arms, I felt safe. I had to kiss you, Lindsay. The moment I saw you tonight, I knew I had to. I'm your boss, I shouldn't. I interrupted him by putting my rose-red lips on his over-apologetic mouth. You're not my boss, you're Liam's boss, it's called a loophole. We both laughed, but I assured him this was not anyone's business but ours, two adults. Yes, there's an age gap, well, an age void, he's 52, I'm 26, and there's the boss-employee issue. I wasn't sure it was, but I could see why Gavin was treading carefully. He did have to leave though, this wasn't going to escalate tonight. I believe he was being a gentleman, he's of that generation. I'm glad I didn't push it further either. I left him wanting more. The kiss on the doorstep was enough to keep me going until next time. We both knew there was going to be a next time.